Hey everybody, welcome back to the third episode of Hooks, Lines, and Hip Hop. I'm Jacob Kobler with a special guest today, Jalen Stroud.
Hey guys, hey everyone.
Hakeem had a work previous arrangement today, so he wouldn't be able to make it, but we wanted to get the content out for this week. We're going to be reviewing the Hamilton mixtape, so we'll get into that in a second. I'll let Jalen introduce himself a little bit before we get into it.
Hey, I'm Jalen. One thing y'all know about me pretty quickly is I'm a huge J.Cole fan. I've been listening to hip-hop, R&B since I was young. First started with R&B. My mom loved Usher, so that was really like the first person I really heard in any sort of, big amount. My first hip-hop album I listened to was probably Graduation by Kanye West. And that was what really set me off in hip-hop, and I sort of dove into it there. And some of my favorite artists are, of course, J. Cole, Kendrick Lamar. Chance has grown on me very recently. Kanye. And then I like all the classic greats, Tupac, Big, all of them. So.
All right. I couldn't imagine Graduation being my first album ever listened to. Rap music would be like so boring after that.
Good Life was awesome.
I put on the website that the first album I really got into was The Recession by Young Jeezy, so it really only went up from there.
Yeah, Good Life was like my favorite song for like 2 years.
Nothing would top that for me.
Yeah, T-Pain was like, I thought T-Pain was amazing, and now, it's T-Pain.
He changed the game. All right, we're going to get into some news for a little bit. Talk about Kanye a little bit. He got out of the hospital.
How's he doing?
I haven't heard. I don't talk to him on a daily basis. But he's out, so hopefully life will get back to
that's good.
His normal.
Hopefully we'll get an album about his hospital visit.
We'll see. Last week we talked about the Lil Wayne project that's coming up. I see an article here that says Lil Wayne yells "fuck Cash Money" in the ass at a Syracuse show. So
Birdman will like that one.
Yeah, he probably would like that.
Definitely.
Put some respect on my ass. So, nothing really too crazy to talk about as far as news. A bunch of music coming out on the 9th. Probably the biggest. Last week we talked about Mos Def, but soon after that we released the podcast, J. Cole announced
I'm so excited.
For Your Eyes Only.
I'm so excited.
We're all excited. That will come next week. We're very excited for that. Like I said, Mos Def's album comes out that day. Post Malone's album comes out that day.
We listened to some of that today.
People that know me personally know that I'm a big Odd Future fan. Haji has an album coming out the 9th. Big day for music on the 9th. We'll be busy listening to a bunch of music.
So if you're working or you have anything to do on the 9th, just cancel it now.
Yep.
Just, you're going to wake up that morning, you're going to listen to music the rest of the day.
All right. So like I said, we're going to be doing the Hamilton mixtape today. Since Hakeem couldn't be here, we skipped Childish Gambino's album. We're going to do that hopefully on Thursday. He's a big Gambino fan, so we'll do that one on Thursday. Right now we're going to do the Hamilton mixtape. Before we get into the content of the album, I just wanted to give some background on Hamilton and kind of talk about its influence. The first time I had even heard of Hamilton was last year at the Grammys. I don't even want to talk about the Grammys because Taylor Swift robbed Kendrick last year, but it was at this Grammys. They flashed away for about 10 minutes talking about Hamilton. They were still in like the early stages. It was, I think, the first week of shows, I believe, and they showed the cast had a live performance right before. It was like in the middle of the Grammys, but it caught my eye. I was thinking, wow, that's a musical, but it's hip hop. That would pull me in just because it's hip hop. I would want to go see what it is. So its influence is amazing, that the fact that you can get people that like musicals and like history going to see that something about hip-hop, and that could bridge them into liking hip-hop.
Yeah, I didn't hear about the Hamilton mixtape, honestly, until like 4 days ago. I was on Twitter, and a friend of mine tweeted, the Hamilton mixtape is by far one of the best mixtape album, musical collections I've heard in a while. I didn't know what it was. I just thought, okay, well, I trust this guy. Let me listen to it. I listened to it. First thing I did was text Jacob. Said, "Dude, this is awesome. We need to talk about this. This is really cool." And like Jacob said with the bridge, I mean, I like history, so it was cool to have something that related to history. But my girlfriend learned so much from this album because she doesn't know anything about history. So I had to explain to her who Alexander Hamilton was, but she knows a lot now, and she definitely appreciated some of the hip hop behind it too.
Right. So when they started Hamilton, the musical, it's obviously about Alexander Hamilton. It was a musical, but done to hip hop, and that had really never been done before. So that was groundbreaking. So you have the aspect of people that don't traditionally listen to hip hop listening to hip hop because of the content they're talking about. So you have them reaching out to people, spreading hip hop. Now you have this mixtape coming out where it's some of the content from the original soundtrack with modern artists, popular artists. So now you're going to get people that like hip hop into it listening to the historical content because they like hip hop. So it just keeps growing and growing. And in the album, it's not all hip hop. There's I think every genre there's alternative, R&B, hip hop. I think the only genre that wasn't really on there was rock. So you're getting all these people like there was Usher was on it, so there's an R&B feature. Sia is more
Kelly Clarkson.
Pop. Yeah, Kelly Clarkson's pop. Alicia Keys is kind of pop, R&B. So you had all these people. Ashanti, back to 2004, a song with Ja Rule.
Ja Rule, awesome. Yes.
So you're getting all these people. Andra Day, beautiful voice. So you're getting all these individual fans. So fans of Kelly Clarkson saw this, and they're exposed to hip-hop because maybe they listened to the whole project. So it's just kind of like a web, and it just keeps reaching out its arms into different viewers and different listeners. It's kind of a weird example, but in sex ed, they all talked about like, oh, if you have sex with this one girl, you don't know who she's had sex with, and they had this like big web, and it's like branching out into all these possibilities, which this is really what the album is like.
Definitely.
So we'll get into some of the content. The Roots were a big component in this album. The reason we wanted to get this done today is actually the Roots are featuring this album on Fallon this week. They'll be playing some of their songs off the album, so we wanted to get it out. The Roots have the first track. It's called No John Trumbull,
which I didn't know who that was. I was surprised.
Yeah,
no idea who that was. And then after listening to the intro, you're like, oh, okay, that's that guy.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So the Roots have the first track, and then the second track, which is called My Shot, which is a remix of the original track My Shot from the actual play and musical, which is really cool. The original off of the Hamilton soundtrack had more live instruments, and it was almost a little more like you're watching the play. But My Shot was a really cool song. The Roots actually just did a thing. I'll put the link in the description. I saw the video on YouTube. It was Questlove and Black Thought put on this like mini concert at the theater where Hamilton is performed, and it was Black Thought, Questlove. They had Andra Day perform. I think Regina Spektor performed her song. Ashanti and Ja Rule performed theirs. And there was one other that I'm forgetting. I can't remember. But I'll put a link to that video. It was really cool. So there's a lot of replay potential and marketing potential for this because of the diversity of features. I'll go through the features here just to give you a glimpse of who's on it. The main person that was behind this, Lin-Manuel Miranda, he is the star of Hamilton. He's of Puerto Rican descent. He's a better singer than he is a rapper, in my opinion, if you check out the Hamilton
he did
soundtrack.
A great job on a few of these, though.
Yeah,
definitely.
If you look up the Hamilton soundtrack, you can hear him singing, and I thought it was a little bit more impressive than the rapping. So here's some of the features. You got The Roots, Busta Rhymes, Joel Ortiz, Nate Roos, who's the lead singer of Fun, great voice. Nas, Dave East, Aloe Black, awesome hook on Definitely. Wrote My Way Out.
Yes.
We already mentioned Usher, Watsky and Shockwave, Sia, Miguel, Queen Latifah.
Who had an awesome
she rapped.
Verse. Yes, it was
If
awesome.
I didn't know that, if I didn't read it before that said Queen Latifah, I would not know that was her rapping. Regina Spektor. Wow.
Yeah.
Hope she doesn't hear this.
Yeah.
Regina Spektor, my bad. Ben Folds, Kelly Clarkson, we already mentioned. Alicia Keys, we already mentioned. The song Immigrants, we'll get to that in a little while. It had some people I actually never heard of.
But
Probably, I would listen to them again. We'll talk about them here in a little while. Jimmy Fallon
Fallon, yes.
He had it was actually classified as comedy on iTunes. He's singing an original track from the soundtrack. It's called You'll Be Back, and it has the Roots playing the instrumental form. It's pretty cool.
Not the best replay potential, but something you're going to listen to and definitely get a laugh out of.
We already mentioned Ashanti, Ja Rule, Ill Mind, which that was one of the DJs behind the Hamilton musical. Jill Scott, Dessa Andra Day, like I said, amazing voice. She really blew up after the Grammys. She had a nominated song. I can't remember. It was not in a big category, but she really came up after that. J. Period, which is another DJ for the Hamilton musical. Wiz Khalifa, which we'll talk about that song later. I didn't really care for that either. The Roots was on here again several times. Common, which you guys all know that we're a big fan of Common here at HLH.
Definitely.
Chance the Rapper and Francis and the Lights was probably one of the coolest songs. I know it got a lot of recognition.
Yeah, you skipped John Legend in there. How did you skip the?
I did. John Legend was good too, and his track was an original from the Hamilton soundtrack. We're gonna take a break and we'll be right back. All right, welcome back, everybody. We're going to go into some of our favorite tracks. Most likely, there'll be more of the hip-hop tracks. This is a hip-hop channel. We will mention some of the pop and indie alternative
Kelly Clarkson's
ones as well.
good.
Kelly Clarkson is good. No hate to Kelly Clarkson, but what was that one song? Was it on White Chicks where they were singing? I don't remember.
Maybe. I don't know.
All right. The first winner of American Idol. All right. Anyway, I would say the first one that really stuck out to me was My Shot. And I already mentioned before that on the original soundtrack that this song was on there. And it was very similar. The hook was actually, the words were identical. Mm-hmm. And when I heard the hip-hop version off the mixtape, I was thinking, I don't really like the way he says, I'm not throwing away my shot. It just seemed crowded. And I was like, why didn't they say I'm not going to waste my shot? It just flowed better. But then when I heard the original, I understood, that's how it was written in the musical. So that's how they're going to remix it, and they're going to keep it the same. So I understood that.
Yeah, I like My Shot because, Busta Rhymes got me hyped up with the Rise Up. Yeah. I just definitely hyped me up there. I was wanting to go and do something with my life.
And Joel Ortiz, he hadn't really done anything in a while.
No, he hasn't.
Which I thought it would have been cool for him to be on the Immigrant song because he is of Hispanic descent. I thought that would have been a little cooler.
With the Immigrant song, though, they threw out people I'd never even heard of. Now I want to.
But
it's just...
On My Shot, Nate Roos didn't really have a huge part, but in the original track on the soundtrack, he's not on there, but there's, I think the article I was reading, there were 7 cast members that sang his part in the original. And hearing the original after I listened to the mixtape, it was kind of cool because they almost sounded like Nate Roos. So I don't know if Nate Roos was trying to sound like them, but it was really cool. It was his part. The song wouldn't have been the same without his part.
Yeah.
And I think my favorite part, the lyric out of that, it's in the hook. He says, I'm not going to waste my shot. Just like my country, I'm young, scrappy, and hungry.
Yeah, I think one thing even about this album in general is, along with the history thing, it definitely gets some patriotic feels to it.
Definitely.
I was listening to it, and I don't know, I just wanted to go, join the army or something, just to fight for something.
Yeah.
I was just like, I really want to do something for my country now.
Yeah.
It's definitely really cool.
The next song, it's actually the next song in the track list, is called Wrote My Way Out. I think that one is a pretty powerful song.
That's my favorite, my personal favorite, because I'm a big fan of Nas. And Nasty Nas. Yep. I love him. So just seeing that was the first song I listened to. When I first opened it, before I did a full listen through, I just clicked that song. I saw his name and I said, that's got to be good. Clicked it. I love that one.
Yeah. And that one has Nas, Dave East, Lin-Manuel Miranda, and Aloe Black, who sings the hook.
Aloe Black with that hook,
awesome.
It was awesome.
Dave East verse was really good, and you can tell Lin-Manuel Miranda he's not really a rapper. It almost sounds like spoken word. It sounds like you're there watching the musical.
Yeah.
Not to say he's not good, his flow and delivery is amazing, but you can just kind of tell he's in a different element than the 2 previous rappers. So some notable lyrics from Wrote My Way Out. The first 3 lines, Nas says, I picked up the pen like Hamilton. In this line, he's kind of comparing their situation. Nas had to write his way out of poverty and the bad conditions he was born into, and he came out and put out the album Illmatic, which we all know is a classic, essential Nas album.
Definitely.
And then the next line, he says, street analyst, now I write words to try to channel them. No political power, just lyrical power. So, again, he's comparing himself to Hamilton. They live separate lives, very different, but their circumstances were very similar. Alexander Hamilton obviously had a strong voice because he was a popular politician at the time, and Nas had a powerful voice because he was one of the greatest rappers ever.
Ever. Definitely ever.
And had a huge voice in his time.
You know, he influenced someone really great, too. Just throwing that out there. Just throwing that out there.
All right.
Cold world, no blanket.
Son.
Yes, son.
All right. So the next one we're going to talk about, you mentioned how you liked Usher. That song was good.
Yeah, it was. I like the little the beginning. I don't know what that instrument was or what it was playing with that little I like that. I didn't expect Usher, you know, he's so great. Confessions, amazing. But
you were like a female now.
Hey, Confessions is good, okay? So it surprised me. I liked it though. I really did like it.
Yeah. The next one, this I think is worth talking about, is Satisfied, and Sia was the quoted recording artist on this. This is also the one with Queen Latifah and Miguel.
Miguel's part was really short.
Yeah,
I noticed that. I was expecting him to have a little bit more, and I'm kind of disappointed he didn't because it would have sounded awesome. Because he sounded great, but he just kind of played the part of Alexander Hamilton in it.
The thing too, there's not a lot of like huge artists on here. Like, I'm sure Miguel's probably the busiest artist that's featured on here. I mean, Joel Ortiz is kind of past his time. Ja Rule's past his time. Ashanti's past her time. Yeah. So Miguel probably didn't have a lot of time to work on this. I kind of like that it was short because we got to see a little more insight into Queen Latifah, who we hadn't really heard anything from her in a long time.
Her verse was amazing.
Yeah, it was.
My girlfriend, when she listened to it, my girlfriend didn't know that she could even rap, and whenever she listened to it, she didn't believe that it was Queen Latifah until I showed her the features on it. So that was pretty cool.
She had a cool line. Context, she says, "The feeling of freedom, seeing the light. It's Ben Franklin with a key and a kite. You see it, right?"
Yeah.
Like we said before, the historical content in this is amazing. Typically don't see hip hop talking about history
and using Ben Franklin as a
I would say the closest thing they talk about history would be like hip hop history.
Yeah,
they don't really talk about American history.
I've never heard of. I can't think of another song that has Ben Franklin in it unless they're talking about
$100 bills.
$100 bills,
yeah,
exactly. So definitely cool verse from Queen Latifah.
Yeah. The song right after that, it's Dear Theodosia, and that is one of the Regina Spektor tracks. That is an original from the Hamilton soundtrack. That was both versions of that were good.
I like Chances better.
I do too.
I like Chances better. When I listened to this with my girlfriend and my little sister, they did not like Chances at all. They said he shouldn't sing, but it was one of those things where I know Chance, and I know that he probably put a lot of work into that more than
he's an acquired taste too.
Yes.
The Valley Forge demo was cool. That had a lot of history packed into it. That's an actual. It sounded like actual audio from the Hamilton soundtrack with a heavier beat and a more produced beat behind it.
Yeah. I liked the demos.
Yeah.
I liked the demos, like the interlude. It was really cool to break up because I mean it is a long album. I mean, it's 23 tracks and 73 minutes. Yeah, so it felt long, but the demos weren't that long. I mean, they were a minute or so.
Yeah,
each.
I think the Valley Forge demo was like 2 minutes.
Yeah, so it wasn't. It was a great way to break it up, and it did throw a lot of that history in there.
And it's very historical packed. He's telling a story, which I think is cool. I've mentioned before that. There's not a lot of really good storyteller rappers. Nas is a good one. J. Cole's a good one. It's really hard to... Yeah, Drake's a good one. Is that what you said? Are you joking right now?
Drake's a great storytelling rapper about, Toronto, the Six.
Okay, let's stop. Drake has his place in music. I just don't want to talk about it now.
Okay,
so
you're right.
Nas, J. Cole... Eminem, even though sometimes the stories were a little off color.
Yeah, stories a little crazy,
it's hard to write.
Tell some stories.
It's hard to write raps and tell a story because you're limited to the instrumental that you use. You're limited to the amount of words you can pack in. With singing, you can kind of stretch out your words longer. With rapping, it's kind of hard because it makes your flow and delivery choppy.
Yeah.
So definitely cool that he can tell a story. And I don't know this for sure. I'm going to guess that he didn't write most of those because it was probably out of the script of whoever wrote Hamilton.
I'm interested to go look up any sort of letters from there that could describe. I mean, I know there's definitely more language. The language difference is, going to be completely evident, but you still could see some of the frustration that he said in these demos, like where he's talking from Valley Forge to Congress about, send us food, send us clothes, no one's helping us. If there's really like a lot of letters with that sort of context with it.
Moving on, the Alicia Keys song was really cool. I'm about to play music on my phone. The Alicia Keys song was really cool. I listened to that one and the original on the soundtrack, and the context of the song, it's Alexander Hamilton's wife, or his partner relationship at that time. She had went to the general that Hamilton was serving under and begged him to come home. And when Hamilton found out about that, he was disappointed, and he was like, I didn't want you to do that. And in the original, she says, well, I'm not sorry for saying that. I wanted you to come home. Yeah. And she's talking about how she's proud of his accomplishments, but coming home alive would be enough for her. And the name of the song
is That Would Be Enough.
Yeah. So really cool content.
She's not better than Beyonce, but
I told him that we worked together. The other day I went in and told him that I think Alicia Keys has a better voice than Beyonce.
That's just wrong.
Kill me. I'm sure wrong. I'll have a lot of people agree with me.
Jay-Z's going to send after you.
Yeah.
You actually skipped It's Quiet Uptown with Kelly Clarkson.
Oh, excuse me.
Yeah, sorry.
I thought she got enough recognition from winning American Idol.
No, she did great in that song. I actually that's one of my favorites too. I mean, I like the hip hop, of course, but I mean, I personally like Quiet Uptown more than I liked Wait For It.
Yeah.
So
the next one that I really liked was track 17, Burn by Andra Day. Beautiful voice. We were sitting here and Jalen asked, he's like, I never really heard of her before, and in the break, he looked up one of her albums on iTunes and started playing it.
I'm definitely gonna go back and listen to that one.
Yeah, beautiful voice. The next one, there's another demo, Cabinet Battle 3, where he's talking in front of Congress, and it's actually kind of humorous. He talks about what was it, Thomas Jefferson and his mistresses?
Yeah, he said, you can't talk. I'll bring up Thomas Jefferson. I can't remember the exact.
Yeah, but he kind of calls out.
He says, but he calls out Thomas Jefferson.
Yeah, it's funny.
Definitely one of the funnier moments.
Yeah. I'm just gonna talk about this one because I didn't like it.
Which one?
The Wiz Khalifa song.
Okay. I don't know why Wiz Khalifa got the nomination from Hamilton Mixtape people to come on here and
I don't know.
And join that. I mean, out of all of the more mainstream rappers, because I mean, to be honest, there's big names on here, but you're not seeing the more mainstream.
And they're all people. I mean, I don't want to take away from anything Wiz Khalifa does. I'm sure that he has stuff where he does stuff in the community, has charities, but most of these people have done really cool things in their careers. Yeah, I mean, the Roots, they speak for themselves. They've been on. I mean,
Ashanti and J. Rule define the early 2000s to me. But Wiz Khalifa, and of course his song is "Washington's by Your Side," and he turns it into a talk about talking about money and saying how it must be nice.
I don't know. I'm not a huge Wiz Khalifa fan, so that probably started me off biased into the song.
Definitely, I thought the same thing. I thought Wiz Khalifa. Really?
The one right after that is "History Has Its Eyes on You," which is another original. John Legend killed it.
Yes.
The original is really good too. Definitely check that out. The next one is one of my favorites, Who Tells Your Story, and it's kind of talking about what happens when all these people are dead and gone. Who's going to tell the story? Who's going to write the history books? Which we all know there's controversy in history books. People think that history is written disproportionately, and I don't want to get into that. But it kind of addresses that they want their story told how they actually lived it. Mm-hmm. And that one had Common on it. Huge fan of Common. He had 2 verses in there.
Yeah, his verses really were good. Awesome.
And then we said the last track is the Dear Theodosia reprise, and it's by Chance the Rapper. And his friend Francis and the Lights, he had a big hand in Chance's album Coloring Book that came out this past May.
Yeah, I actually the first time listening to this, when I did my full listen through, I listened to that track and I went straight and listen over again because I wanted to hear Chance's.
Well, before you text me, I had no idea this had come out. I had seen the soundtrack and listened to part of the soundtrack because I was kind of intrigued by the videos I had been seeing on YouTube and on the news. Well, I followed Chance the Rapper, and he was retweeting some of his fans like, oh my God, the Theodosia song is amazing. And I was like, what? I didn't know he put out something new. So I click on it, and then I kept going through Twitter, and I found this mixtape, and I was like, holy crap, this just came out. This is awesome. And then a day later, Jalen texts me and says, have you listened to this? And I was like, yeah, I've listened to most of it. And then when we decided we wanted to review it, I went back and listened to it in its entirety. Really awesome song. We skipped over this, Helpless with Ja Rule. It's on that video I was talking about, the live performance. Awesome.
Yeah, Ja Rule's voice for me. For some reason, when I hear Ja Rule's voice, I think of 2004.
Yeah.
I don't even know what
he has
he
a very
put out
like,
then, but just
he has a DMX-esque voice.
yeah,
it's kind of gravelly.
You hear it and you're just like Ja Rule.
Yeah.
Like there's no one that could ever match that. I mean, there's definitely some artists that you can hear and say, oh, that sounds like so and so.
Yeah.
If someone came out and sounded like Ja Rule, I wouldn't care the artist is. I'd say, oh, that's Ja Rule.
Yeah.
So,
In the song on the album, he only has one verse, but in the live performance, he's kind of singing along with Ashanti, and it's just really cool. And he's dressed all crazy, so is she. Definitely check out that video.
yeah, I want to watch that.
But definitely a great album. It's awesome in its content, but just the reach that this album is going to have.
Yes.
It's going to bring kids that don't like history. They're going to learn about history because it's a hip hop song.
Yep. I think we may have skipped some of these.
I know we skipped some of the songs that were more pop and alternative.
Yeah. Immigrants. We
didn't do that one. That's a big one.
Immigrants was awesome. That I like some of the. It's almost like a little bit of a diss. Some of the lines she says, where she's like, "The Ghost Riders. We're America's Ghost Riders. Ghost Riders." It's definitely a really cool song.
The full name of the song is Immigrants, and then in parentheses it says "We get the job done," and that's part of the hook. They say like "Immigrants, we get the job done," and they're kind of all singing it in cadence, like almost as if they're kind of pointing out at America, like you guys use us in groups to accomplish these jobs that no one else wants to do, and they're talking about how America wouldn't be America if we didn't have immigrants.
I think there's a little cameo type deal in the beginning where he's talking about, and he's like, it's a guy, I don't know, it may be from the play, I'm not 100% sure, but he's saying, immigrants, a country built on immigrants is all of a sudden immigrants a bad word.
Yeah.
So it's definitely cool. It set off the entire
this is what he said.
Track.
He said, we've got the House and the Senate debating this issue, and it's really astonishing that in a country founded by immigrants, immigrant has somehow become a bad word. So the debate rages on, and we continue. And that was said by J. Period, one of the DJs for the Hamilton musical. Him and the other one, I don't remember his name, we mentioned him already, they control the music at the actual performances.
Okay.
So that's probably something he says during the musical, like you said.
Yeah, it was definitely a interesting intro, almost like an intro to the song, and then the song starts, and it definitely. First line, I got 1 job, 2 jobs, 3 jobs when I need them.
Yeah, and then the next line he says, I got 5 roommates in the studio, but I never really see them. Talking about how they're all immigrants, they've all come from different places, and they're all here to work hard, and they've got 3 jobs and never see each other, which is a stereotype more so towards Hispanics.
Yeah.
But no, it's definitely true. And then the next line after that, it says, and we all came America trying to get a lap dance from Lady Freedom.
Which was a little weird.
I kind of get the allure of the line. They're talking about coming to America for the American dream.
Yeah.
They're wanting to reap what America prides itself on.
One of my favorite parts about this song was the ability of some of these artists to go from English to Spanish and back and forth. It was definitely a cool change up of flow. In terms of just lyrical ability, was amazing. I didn't know what they were saying. I don't speak Spanish, but I still could understand that they were just definitely going off on the song.
Right. I think the go ahead.
One of my favorite lines from Snow the Product, who never heard of her before, but it says it's a hard line when you're import, baby boy. It's hard times when you ain't sent for. Racists feed the belly of the beast with their pitchforks, rich chores done by the people that get ignored. That's just, again, talking about immigrants and how they do whatever is needed, and yet it's overlooked. It's unappreciated.
In the mainstream media, it looks as if we're wanting to push them out of the country. And
we're calling them to do our dishes and laundry for us.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't want to get into politics, but there's been several articles and people come out of Hispanics that work for Donald Trump, and I don't know if this is still his stance. He's changed his tune, but he was wanting to deport large numbers of immigrants when he uses them.
Exactly.
In his
it's
businesses.
it's one of those things that it definitely brought attention to that, along with an album about America's history.
Yeah.
You even get something more modern, a modern issue.
What kind of made this song more powerful is the diversity of the cast. Lin-Manuel Miranda is Puerto Rican, very diverse. They have a lot of African Americans, a lot of whites. It's a very diverse crowd, and I know we've all heard in the news. The Vice President-elect Mike Pence went to watch Hamilton, and they kind of called him out a little. It got way blown out of proportion in the media, but they wanted him to know, like, hey, we're the people, and we want you to respect our minorities, our beliefs, and it got blown way out of proportion. But that makes this song more powerful. They're using all different people from different walks of life to make this awesome musical.
Yeah. Now, do you know who Riz MC is? Because
No.
to be honest, he had a really weird flow. I mean, I'm based on the lyrics, I'm thinking he's English, because he says, "Nah, they don't play British Empire strikes back."
Right.
So I think he may be an English artist, but he definitely had
Yeah, because he makes an allusion to Buckingham Palace.
Yes, and then he even says London at the end. You know, I think he is, and I definitely want to go look him up. But like I said, that
I mean, we could have done several episodes dissecting every song of this album. But the main thing to think about is its reach and the influence it's going to have. I know my wife doesn't really like hip-hop, but when we were sitting there together watching the Grammys, she saw it shows, wow, that's really cool, I would really like to see that. And there are talks of Hamilton doing a world tour, and if they come anywhere near Greenville, I'm definitely going to see.
Definitely going to see it.
I really wish that we could have done this after seeing the musical, and I think it would be awesome. This play is going to be redone by so many people.
Definitely.
I wouldn't be surprised to see a movie. I wish that
a movie would be really cool.
I wish that I was in school. I'm sure a lot of people I had to go see Les Mis when it came out in school, and I'll be honest, I wasn't very happy about going. I liked the movie after I watched it, but when they said, "Oh, we're going to Les Mis," I was happy to get out of school.
Yeah, exactly. This would be one movie I would be like,
I really want
to go see this.
This will be awesome. So I think it's going to bring in a lot of people that don't like hip hop. It's going to bring in people that like hip hop that don't always listen to musicals or watch musicals. I think the only other musical besides Les Mis that I've seen, I've seen Hairspray. Sound of Music.
Yeah, to be honest, a musical doesn't really.
It doesn't appeal to me. Neither plays don't really either. Like my wife's been dragging me to go see Wicked.
Yeah,
it comes to Greenville every year.
Never been big into musicals, but I really want to.
I'd love to see this.
It was a great album. If you just make the time to listen to it.
Yeah.
Even if you go through and just pick see some artists you like, pick their songs, listen to it, it'll draw you to listen to the rest.
Definitely.
It's definitely worth a listen. A little long, but it's worth a listen.
And if you like this, definitely go look up the original. The original's awesome. It sounds more like you're there watching the play. Definitely worth the time to listen. All right, we're going to get into our hidden hits. Me and Hakeem have done this segment before. Jalen has not. So just tell us about some of the stuff you're listening to. It doesn't have to be something that's not talked about a lot, just something you've been listening to.
Since you've already made the announcement that J. Cole is dropping his album December 9th, please everyone go listen to that. It's going to be the best album.
I don't think you have to beg people to go listen to that.
Just listen to it. Best album of 2016. I can guarantee that now.
That's
it's
a hard
tough.
sell.
It's tough because Coloring Book was solid.
Life of Pablo was solid.
So definitely. So J. Cole dropped his some singles off of that through his documentary.
Harsh.
That's definitely what I've been listening to.
We both watched the documentary. It's well put together.
Yes, it's definitely a cool documentary. I mean they're not really hidden hits because I'm pretty sure everyone's heard False Prophets and the
or at least read what was the motivation behind it.
Yeah. So I listened to those. I like both those singles. And those really aren't hidden. But
he's got two hard things to do with this. He has to top 2014 Forest Hills Drive.
He can do
which
that.
In the documentary he said that he thinks he can top it.
Yes.
which Jalen is obviously very biased to
I'm
J.
so
Cole.
biased. So if you are on the fence on J. Cole, you just need to listen to his music, and he should win you over.
So he has to top 2014, Forest Hills Drive, and he's got some big albums this year to beat. Like we already mentioned, Coloring Book, Life of Pablo. I have high hopes for the Mos Def album. It's his final album. He doesn't.
I'm sure it'll be great.
It'll be great.
Yeah.
So he's got a lot in that. We were talking at work. Post Malone needs to push his album back. Post Malone is good in his own right.
Post Malone, we listened to some of his singles. I hadn't heard of singles yet, and I listened to singles. They were pretty good. I'm not sure if I'm going to listen to Post Malone over J. Cole on Friday or
Definitely
even Mos
not.
Def. But I'll definitely give it a listen, and maybe a couple weeks down the road, I'll just randomly come upon it again and go, oh yeah, Post Malone put out an album.
Yeah, he did the same thing. Coloring Book, which I'm gonna talk a lot about Coloring Book towards the end of the year when Hakeem and I do our top 10 albums. But he put out a mixtape. I don't remember the name of it. I know
That's
it was a
That's
cover.
how bad time that was.
It was a cover of him, and there was like fire in the background. He put it out on May 13th, which was the same day Coloring Book came out, and it just got way overshadowed.
Yeah,
I mean, J. Cole was successful moving Born Sinner up to compete with Yeezus.
Because Yeezus wasn't a traditional Kanye
Right.
album, so therefore everyone was wanting traditional hip hop.
Right.
Said
And-
they listened to Yeezus and said, "Oh,
Well, and I read an article at the time. I'd have to do some research on where it was, but the number of people that bought both albums on the same day from Best Buy and on iTunes was insane.
yeah." I mean, I think that same thing's gonna happen December 9th. I truly do. I think a lot of people that get Mos Def are gonna definitely look at J. Cole. Even some of the older fans who know Mos Def but may not know J. Cole as much will see that and go, okay, well, let's listen to this guy.
So,
or even the younger fans, the opposite way.
Post Malone needs to have some maybe intentional delay.
Yeah, just
Some
even a week.
single,
Just give it a week.
Some instrumental clearances or something. It's going to be hard. He's got a hard task to top both of those.
Yeah.
Not to say he can't do it, because he's definitely.
Oh, he's
amazing
definitely got the
artist.
ability. He doesn't really have the strength yet to go up against that. But
Well, we're gonna break that. That should be a pretty good review. Jalen will probably be there since he's a J. Cole
I'm definitely coming
expert.
for that one.
But that'll be a fun one to dissect because it's only 10 tracks. I don't think he's released a time on it. If the interlude, what is it? Everybody Dies. Is that the name of the?
Yeah.
There wasn't really a name.
No. Everybody Has to Die.
Yeah. So if that one is on the album, it's going to be significantly short because that one's only 2 minutes. But he may have an extended 6-minute song.
I mean, he did the intro and the outro with his first album, Forest Hills Drive. So I don't know if he'll throw one of those in there. He may not then throw another 15-minute intro or outro on it. But I think
that'll be a fun one. We'll get to like dive into the lyrics and really talk about what he's talking about. And
with my
mention
expertise,
that.
and some feedback on that. But I'm definitely excited for that Friday.
So stay
December 9th.
posted. We're going to listen to that on Friday. And I think we talked about recording on the 12th of December. So we'll try to get that up either that night or the day after. My hidden hit, it's probably really actually a hidden hit.
It may be.
Yeah, we all have heard of Logic, but not a lot of people have went back and listened to Logic. I believe it's his first mixtape. It may be his second. I think it's his second. Either way,
Which mixtape?
Really early. Young Sinatra.
Oh yeah, I love that mixtape. That's a great one.
Awesome mixtape. He has the first song. He uses the Frank Sinatra sample. It's amazing.
Which more artists should do, by the way.
Yes,
I don't know.
People
why.
talk about how sampling is it's stealing, but it's really not. You're keeping music that wouldn't be heard by the listener alive.
Exactly.
Like not a lot
music
of
should be transferred between generations.
Yeah,
It
I don't
shouldn't
know a
be-
lot of hip hop listeners that listen to Frank Sinatra,
No.
and this was a way into it, and may get them into Frank Sinatra and the Rat Pack, the original Rat Pack, not Real All the Time Pack.
Real all the time pack.
Yeah.
Real all the time
Yeah.
pack.
So awesome album, and it was mixtape. So awesome mixtape, great project. I've been listening to him since high school. Me and Jalen, another friend of ours, went to a Kid Cudi was the headliner. It was Kid Cudi. Big Sean opened for Kid Cudi, and Logic opened for Big Sean.
We got there with Logic. There was maybe 200 people in the entire.
It was at Clemson's basketball arena, so it's not a huge arena, but it yeah, I would say
200 people maybe.
there were not a lot of people, and we're on our way, and they're both sitting there like, I've never really heard of Logic, and I played some for him, and I was like, dude, I'm telling you, Logic is gonna kill this. He'll be the best performer.
I genuinely thought, look at this white boy.
Yeah,
and didn't know anything about him. Now I consider him one of my favorite artists.
When I started listening to him, I didn't know he was mixed. I thought he was white.
Yeah,
and it's really cool. He's a classy dude. He doesn't really talk about race a lot. He mentions it a little bit.
He hates when people bring up race.
Right. Yeah. So he doesn't talk about it a lot. Yeah, he killed it, and I felt really bad because all of those people that were there to see Kid Cudi really would have probably got into that.
Yes, definitely. He was one of the best performers I've actually seen. But what is your hit?
I'm gonna say that just listen to that project. I've been listening to that
project. Yeah, definitely a good project. I like that one.
He has we're talking about sampling. He has a sample of Family Guy. I'm gonna play it off my phone. Maybe you'll be able to hear it. So he's a really creative guy, in my opinion.
So, it's been 24 hours. Got my money? Oh, you know what? Just give me till next Friday. I'll have it for you. Oh, that's funny. I could have sworn I said have it today. Yeah, I don't have it. Sorry.
So it's just listen to it. He's very creative. There's that on there.
This is him at his most genuine too, because there's no pressure of the album.
No.
I mean, I'm pretty sure this was maybe a year before his first album, so he had, he wasn't even. This
is a couple years before his first album, because he put out the mixtape that was out when we went and saw him, Welcome to Forever, and it was out for about a year before Under Pressure came out.
Yeah, so there's definitely no pressure on him. He's just having a good time.
Yeah.
Like he said, there's a Family Guy sample, so you know that it's not. It's definitely going to have some cool samples in it, something different.
He samples, I don't remember which Star Wars it is. It's Count Dooku. He says some phrase. I don't remember. You just have to listen to the album. It's awesome. I think if I were to tell you my favorite track, I would either say the Frank Sinatra track, which is the first song, or the second one. It's called Shine On. He has a really cool female feature on there. Definitely check it out. And what's crazy is he sounds the same as he does now. Like, he doesn't sound too much different. He didn't change his sound. His album or mixtape he put out over the summer was kind of more trap influenced.
I was disappointed for like the first 20 minutes, and then I realized that he meant to do this. Like, it wasn't like he was changing his entire sound. He meant to put out.
I think he was kind of pointing at those people that say, oh, he sounds the same. Kind of saying, I can be versatile, but I choose to stay in this lane.
Exactly. And he also showed that, hey, this isn't that hard, guys. You guys appreciate all this trap music. And
it has its place. But
it does. But I think he was trying to show, like, look, this is what I can do. Yeah. And just sit back and listen. So I appreciated his mixtape over the summer. It's really definitely cool.
Very versatile. Very versatile artist. Very creative.
He's really smart, too.
Yes.
His interviews, if you get time, just watch his interviews.
And not that this matters, but his wife is fine. I don't know if anybody's seen his wife.
Yes.
But he scored on that. I mean, in my opinion, he's not the best looking dude.
We got a friend that looks like him, though.
We do. Well, I like him.
And he's again, not the best looking dude. But definitely, he's versatile. He can rap over anything.
Yeah.
I mean, he can do a Rubik's Cube while he raps.
No, one of the things, this was on his mixtape, Welcome to Forever, and I hadn't heard it when we went to the concert until I saw the screen that had it up there. I looked it up when we got home. He did a cover of Miss Jackson, and he started playing it, and I was like, oh, don't touch this, dude. And it was amazing. They dropped the beat, and he rapped the whole rest of the verse a cappella. They turned the beat back on, and he was right where he left off.
Yeah, he's definitely impressive. He'll probably blow up pretty big. I mean, he's already pretty big now, but if he's no Drake, he's no worldwide superstar.
He's baiting me to go after Drake right now, and
I'm trying.
Yeah, great project.
There's no Future reference in this podcast yet, so I need to drop.
Hakeem is not here. Hakeem loves Future.
Future's great, so I'm dropping Drake. So maybe that'll cover for Future for this podcast.
He's baiting me to just go in on the Six God.
Yes, please go in on the Six God.
Oh, so yeah, check out Logic's mixtapes. Oh,
listen to J. Cole's new singles. Definitely worth a listen. And
J. Cole's the same concept with Logic. His mixtapes could have been albums for the most part.
Yes, they could have. They have the ability. I mean, he just didn't have the following back then.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about that more whenever we talk about the new album.
Yes, that will be a long one. We'll have a lot of fun talking about that one. So check out Logic. Check out the J.Cole Singles. His album comes out December 9th. We'll keep you posted on some of the stuff we're going to be doing after that. I know we've already talked about trying to record 2 podcasts in that week. We're going to cover Mos Def and J. Cole. Post Malone is probably still in the works. We'll see how it goes. I know we've mentioned before about our top 10 albums of the year. That'll be a good one. So we'll keep you posted on Twitter. Check out our website. We just got that finished. It's hlhpodcasts.weebly. That's weebly.com. Check that out. That'll link you to our Twitter, our Facebook, our YouTube account. Get you to learn a little bit more about me and Hakeem. We both have about sections on there, so that'll be good for y'all. All right, this has been the 3rd episode of the HLH podcast. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.